back here with us on Times Now. We have some more breaking inputs coming in at this point in time. Another round of explosions were heard over Qatar's capital, Doha. This is the latest update that we are getting for you right now. Let me straight away go across to my colleague Rishabh, joining us on the broadcast for more on this. Rishabh, what is the latest update that you can share with us?
Well, what we're given to understand that Qatar has now reported that there are fresh round of explosions that have been heard, at the capital, Doha. And as per the reports that are coming in from Doha, the residents have heard loud boom at around 11:54 a.m. local time. Iran has clearly vowed that we will, destabilize the region if the attacks from Israel and U.S. continue. Remember, Iran is really upset that how IRIS Dena was actually attacked in Indian Ocean. Remember, Dena was returning from the Milan exercise here in India, and given the protocols that it was following, it was unarmed as well, and hence they were defenseless when they were bombed. So Iran now going after anything that is under their reach in the region, and the fresh rounds of explosion now heard in Doha.
All right. Thank you, Rishabh. Appreciate you joining us with those details. Dr. George, Qatar is among those countries, that are currently being targeted by Iran in retaliation to the operation launched by U.S. as well as Israel. What do you make of what we just heard, the latest set of explosions that were heard from Doha?
Qatar has realized through the hard way that Iran is not a reliable neighbor, because before this conflict, the contact between Qatar and Iran were quite intimate. As a matter of fact, actually, Qatar and also the other Emirates are addressing clandestine, calls to Israel to make sure that their countries will be protected, and that nothing will really happen to the stability of their regimes. Apparently, we are experiencing the emergence of a kind of axis led by Israel, and including Saudi Arabia, the EU, Qatar, and Bahrain, that are expecting Israel to lead the activities to enable a protection of their countries. So it's a very important change that is emerging in the Middle East. We can call it the moderate axis, which will have some ramifications in the future with respect to enhancing the Abraham Accords, and also, enabling a kind of a military pact in which Israel will be the main major partner. So this is something to be followed, but it's a kind of emerging development which is very, very important.
And something that's not good for the world at all, because if you talk about Qatar specifically, Dr. George, first, it has suspended the production of LNG. Hence, it's going to impact almost every country in the world that relies on the Middle East for LNG also. Now it has decided to even stop production of associated products. I mean, it's going to take the entire global economy also down with it.
This assessment is correct. However, it should be reflected as a short-time crisis, because, this war won't be eternal. I think that during the coming 2 weeks, there will be a change in which will enable the resuming of the production of oil and gas. So apparently the impression is that the ramifications are very tough for the world market. but we shouldn't really consider it as something that can, increase and cause some real troubles to the world for a long time period. So let's hope that what's going on in the battlefield will accelerate the change of the course of the events.
Okay. Dr. George and Commander Jaitley, requesting both of you to stay on with us since we are talking about the impact of this war on the energy market specifically. Let's talk a little bit about that. Viewers, the ongoing Middle East crisis is directly impacting the energy market across the world. Brent crude is hovering around $83 per barrel. The prediction is soon it could touch $100 a barrel. That is going to be a nightmare for oil importing countries, especially India. Some important developments impacting the oil prices include a statement by the U.S. Defense Secretary last evening. He, in fact, during a Pentagon briefing said U.S. war against Iran is just getting started. Has plunged in the last 1 week, ever since the war started. As per energy market intelligence firm Kepler, the oil tanker traffic has not stopped. Some tankers are still moving, but it has dropped by around 90% in last 1 week itself. Let's take you through, in fact, the graphics that we've got for you, what exactly Kepler has said and how it is a cause of concern right now. So if you look at Strait of Hormuz, firstly, let's tell you why that is important. It's located between Oman and Iran. It is the only waterway in or out of the Persian Gulf. In 2025, $13 million barrels passed through it. And apart from that, it's a pathway for 20% of the global oil trade. 20% of global LNG also passes through this particular Strait of Hormuz. It's the only maritime route for Gulf states. Now, if we, talk about how it has become a headache right now, it is very, very important because according to the energy intelligence firm Kepler, the traffic via this particular pathway, Strait of Hormuz, in fact, has dropped about 90% in just 1 week. Let's get another graphics for our viewers where we'll explain to them, what is happening right now. So one, of course, the traffic has gone down. Why has the traffic gone down? Because the war risk cover has been cancelled by maritime insurers. There is no war risk coverage for ships from March 5th as per the notices that were issued by the companies a couple of days ago. Now, these shipping firms will need to renew the insurance cover. They'll have to find new ways of insurance cover. As a result, the cost of shipping oil from Gulf is set to spike, and the war risk premium, in fact, has gone up by about 1% of the value of ship. So all of this really has happened, and why it is clearly a concern for India. Now, that is also very, very important because for India, this particular route is important because we import 88% of our crude oil requirement, and around 50% of that actually comes from the Middle East, and from that 50%, at least 40% passes through this particular pathway, that is Strait of Hormuz. Now, apart from that, from the Middle East also, what we are witnessing right now is that a lot is likely to get impacted, and we'll discuss all of this a little later. But let's tell you about how the IRGC, has spoken about as far as Strait of Hormuz is concerned, because IRGC has claimed that, any ship that's going to be crossing this Strait of Hormuz is going to be targeted. And this is what IRGC has said. They've issued a warning saying if anyone tries to pass Revolutionary Guards and regular Navy, will set those ships ablaze. And this is the reason why the premium has gone up and the insurers have decided to now cancel the coverage. U.S. President Donald Trump, however, has said that the U.S. is going to escort tankers to Strait of Hormuz if required, because it's impacting the energy market across the world. And ships, however, are very scared to cross the Strait of Hormuz because insurers have also increased the war risk premium, and right now they are without the required coverage. Trump has also promised insurance to ships at a very reasonable price. Now, how will that really be working in? We don't really know. And how soon is that going to be kicking in? We don't really know. And will it happen for all the ships that are stranded right now? Of course, there's no clarity on that aspect as well. We will slip into a very short break right now, but we'll be coming back with lots more on what's happening across the Middle East. Stay with us.